Vaughn Grissom is headed back to the Braves. We think. Let's break it down on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. Today is Friday, April 14th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Chris the Welsh. At the time of recording this, we don't have confirmation, but Orlando Arcia is dealing with a fracture in his left wrist, and it sure sounds like Vaughn Grissom is on his way to the Atlanta Braves. He's looked awesome in the minors so far this year. 48% rostered. Welsh, what are you expecting from Grissom? And would you rather have him or Edouard Julien?
Ooh, our love, Edouard Julien, who led off for the team and hit his first 2 major league hits in the same inning. That's absurd. I don't know if that's ever happened before. I have some pretty decently high expectations for Grissom because I don't think, and I think a lot of people would agree, it was really about the bat was the ever issue. It was about him playing shortstop. Well, guess what? He's going to be thrown in. This is his opportunity for the bat to sling and for him to play some decent defense so they can keep him around and they can probably justify doing this. In the minors, 8% strikeout rate so far, 12% walk rate, 3.45 slash. These are everything that you want. I think at this moment, I would go with Grissom because I think I see a better opportunity and a path long-term for Grissom to stick around. This team experimented last year on the back end of putting him in the outfield when Ozzie Albies was going to come back. So if Arcia were to come back and he were to, be good offensively, I think they would experiment with the same thing, getting him maybe in an outfield spot, not sending him back down. Developmentally, that would be bad. Edouard Julien, lots of positive things, but Polanco and Kirilloff are coming soon. So I'm going to go with Grissom.
All right, yeah, I agree with that call. Grissom looked really good last year with the Atlanta Braves. Heads up that he only has second base eligibility to start on CBS, but assuming he's playing shortstop, he should gain that eligibility very quickly, and God knows we need it. With all the injuries to shortstop right now, it's been a complete waste.
I was about to say, who would have cared at the beginning of the year? We're like, we're never going to play him at shortstop. We only want the second base eligibility. Now that's not so clear.
No, it is not. And with that, let's talk about a few other prospects here. Scott couldn't join us today, so we've got the Welsh on. We're happy to do it. But let's talk about Scott's top 5 prospects who are on the verge of getting the call. Brett Baty with the Mets. Of course, he had Vaughn Grissom on this list, and I think he wrote about it either on Wednesday or Thursday, so kudos to Scott. He was ahead of the game. Sal Frelick with the Brewers, Brandon Pfaadt with your Arizona Diamondbacks, and Gavin Stone with the Dodgers. Is there one or two of these names that really stand out, Welsh, that you'd like to highlight?
Brett Baty is one. On the full podcast, if you guys listen to Fantasy Baseball Today, on the full side, you'll have heard me say that I think Brett Baty could be up by the next time I am on this show. I really think we're getting into that. Escobar has been struggling. Right now, Baty is hitting over 300. He's got a 3.47 slash, which is crazy. Or no, I guess I was looking at some of that. It's a 3.4. Yeah, no, it is a 3.47 slash. And 3 homers, 2 stolen bases, all the hard hit numbers, an 18% walk rate. He's doing everything he could possibly do for this team to get the call. And on top of it, they got a guy who's struggling at that position. So I think Baty could be up within the next week to really kickstart this team. And I think he deserves it. I think this is the number 1 guy on the call-up. And the other on this is Brandon Pfaadt. Now, no shock, Homer, Diamondbacks hat, all the stuff. You guys would probably expect that. But the thing that is a little different from my Homeristic characteristics is Brandon Pfaadt went 3 2/3 no hit in his last start. He got a bad call that took away a strike, which then ended up being a homer. And I loved the pitch usage. The slider was up. The fastball was down. He was getting his swinging strikes. And he, besides the bad ump calls, I noticed he was on a pitch count. It was a low pitch count. He could have got much deeper into the game. They kept around 70. He just also happens to be lined up with Madison Bumgarner, Frank. So if Bumgarner struggles, this team is at the top of the West. There's no way they can keep doing this. And I think the turnaround of 2 good starts on Pfaadt could bring him back up soon. So Brett Baty and Brandon Pfaadt are at the top of my list. So these are very astute calls by Mr. Scott White.
All right, so some big names. We know Grissom's back on the way. It sounds like Brett Baty and Brandon Pfaadt could be with their respective teams soon. So if you're looking to stash, those are the names. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.